Welcome to the X Sessions, where we sit down for a conversation with our members to get their perspective on market structure and to get an update on their business. Today, I am joined by Adam and Erica from Hudson River Trading. Hudson River Trading was founded in 2002 and is a global quantitative trading and market making firm with 500 employees and offices in the US, Europe, and Asia. So the goal of this series is for Memx to deliver on our value proposition of amplifying our members' voices. And I'm really looking forward to the conversation here today and hearing about what you guys are focused on at HRT. So you guys are a market maker. What does that mean from an HRT perspective to be a market maker?
So first, we need to be able to price stocks effectively. But another part of that is the ability to manage risk. And we think it's important to have the ability to manage risk across many timeframes. So those timeframes may be minutes, it may be hours, and it may be days where you have a portfolio that you're managing, to provide liquidity to clients.
And Erica, can you just summarize for us what HRT's business is about?
HRT has predominantly been fairly under the radar. We're not a firm that's out there a lot talking about who we are, but we do trade 10% of the US equity markets approximately, and are a sizable contributor, on exchange and off exchange. And we look to continue to build upon that success with our client businesses.
And what's on the horizon for HRT in the coming months or years?
Yeah, so we will remain focused on growing our client business here in the US and European equities, ETFs, as well as US Treasuries. However, we are also working towards building out a retail wholesale business here in the US.
Building a retail wholesale business is new for you, but you're obviously both very familiar with the space. What drove your decision to enter the business now?
Sure. There's been a lot of discussion about competition in the space, and we think HRT is in a position to compete and provide an additional alternative. So we think that there's definitely a diversity play there. At the end of the day, retail investors are going to buy and sell stocks and ETFs. And we think we can compete to provide liquidity to them in whatever form that takes, whether or not, payment for order flow is part of that equation.
I think my view from a global perspective is if you look at execution quality in the US for retail investors, it is excellent. And that doesn't mean that the quality elsewhere is not good, but we have a pretty flexible model and we have a good deal of transparency around that model and what it can deliver for investors. So, ultimately, we want our policies to be focused on, delivering value and efficiency for investors in the US. And, HRT wants to be part of that equation and compete to deliver, that value.
That's great. And congratulations on entering the wholesale business. Good luck with it. I'm sure you have it.
I don't know if you should be congratulating us yet.
All right, I'll wish you good luck and good luck in competing. It's just very, very meaningful competitors there. As we were launching, we've heard a lot about the trade-offs between fragmentation, creating another exchange. What's the value of creating another exchange? Although everyone does recognize that the top 3 exchange operators control 97% of the flow. Is there anything different this time around from your perspective?
It does feel like we've seen this movie before, but I guess it remains to be determined if we know how it ends. As it relates to fragmentation and competition, I just view those as opposite sides of the same coin. We want to have strong competition among exchanges, but we also should ensure that there's a value proposition. I think from the Memx perspective, you had a meaningful value proposition from day one. So, that's work that we would have wanted to do in any event.
Erica, if you could give Memx team some advice, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think people often think that the only way to be innovative and differentiate themselves is to do something big, some new thing, and then change the way stocks are traded. But focusing on the little things like operational excellence, resilience, and then delivering that value to your clients, I think always will provide a point of differentiation and will set you apart from other players trying to be, the next fad in the exchange landscape.
Adam, one issue we think about a lot at Memx is U.S. markets and are U.S. equity markets competitive? When you look at innovations occurring in other regions or other asset classes, how do you think the U.S. is faring? Are we doing enough? Where do you think we stand?
I think we like to take for granted how efficient and how effective the markets in the U.S. are, and we instead focus on, generally smaller issues that we can argue about. And a lot of that debate tends to be around rent-seeking issues where it's a thing that's good for one and bad for another. I think we still have room to focus on policies that just make the market better without necessarily, making things worse for someone else. We seem to have been willing to do things because the so-called good guys are fans of it. So if you're a Yankees fan, you obviously don't want Red Sox fans to be the ones making the rules. But I think also if you're a Red Sox fan, you shouldn't want Red Sox fans to be able to make the rules because you're pretty likely to just ruin the game in the process. I think that would be a critical thing to keep in mind. The other piece is that the US doesn't operate in a vacuum. You can trade US listed stocks all over the world, and ensuring that we continue to have the most efficient and effective markets is going to allow us to, continue to trade the vast majority of the volume in US companies. And one of the things we like about Memx's approach is that it takes into account those diverse views and those diverse objectives and creates a neutral platform and creates a great ecosystem for buyers and sellers with different objectives to come together.
It's been an impressive start for you and the team, and we definitely look forward to working together for years to come and watching Memx grow potentially into other asset classes where we can also partner and work with you.
Thank you so much for the conversation today. It's always great to talk to you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.